Most men over 60 have no idea something is slowly stealing their strength. It happens so gradually that you barely notice it. One day, you realize getting off the couch takes a little more effort. Stairs feel heavier than they used to. Carrying groceries leaves you winded. This isn't just aging. This is sarcopenia, and it's been silently working against you for decades. Here's the reality. After 30, your body starts losing muscle. Slowly at first, maybe 0.5% per year. But once you hit 60, that process speeds up dramatically. Research shows men between 60 and 70 have typically lost around 12% of their total muscle mass. By 80, that number climbs to 30%, and muscle strength drops even faster than muscle size. Between 50 and 60, strength declines about 1.5% per year. After 60, it accelerates to 3% annually. But here's what most people never hear. Your body doesn't lose the ability to build muscle. Studies on men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s prove that resistance training can reverse years of muscle loss. One study found that adults over 85 gained just as much muscle as those in their late 60s when they followed the same training program. Researchers concluded that resistance training can slow and even reverse the muscle fiber changes associated with aging. This was true even in people who didn't start lifting until after 70. Your body still responds. It still adapts. It still grows. You just need to give it the right signal. These 5 exercises are specifically designed to trigger muscle growth in aging bodies while protecting your joints and keeping you safe. Number 1. Squat. The squat is the single most important exercise you can do. Nothing else comes close for building functional lower body strength. Every time you sit down in a chair and stand back up, you're performing a squat. Every time you get off the toilet, climb stairs, or pick something off the floor, your body relies on the same muscles the squat develops. This movement trains your quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and core all at once. It's the highest return on your training time because it works so many muscles through a natural movement pattern your body already knows. But here's what makes it especially valuable for men over 60. Strong legs protect you from falls. They keep you mobile. They let you stay independent. Now, you don't need to load a heavy barbell on your back. A goblet squat, where you hold a single dumbbell or kettlebell at your chest, works perfectly. So does a box squat, where you lower yourself onto a bench or sturdy surface before standing back up. The box squat is particularly useful because it teaches you to sit back properly and gives you a safety net at the bottom. Stand with feet slightly wider than shoulder width. Point your toes out just a bit. As you lower yourself, push your hips back like you're sitting into a chair. Keep your chest up and your weight in your heels. Control the descent. Don't just drop down. When you stand, drive through your whole foot and squeeze your glutes at the top. Start with body weight if you need to. There's no shame in that. The goal is consistent progress over months and years, not lifting heavy on day 1. Your knees will thank you, and your strength will build steadily. Number 2. Deadlift. The deadlift builds what the squat doesn't fully address. While squats emphasize the front of your legs, deadlifts hammer the posterior chain. That's your hamstrings, glutes, and the entire musculature of your back. These muscles are responsible for standing up straight, maintaining good posture, and preventing that hunched forward position so common in older adults. Every time you pick something off the floor, you're performing a deadlift pattern. A dropped set of keys, a bag of dog food, a grandchild who wants to be held. Training this movement with resistance makes those daily tasks easier and safer. The trap bar deadlift is ideal for men over 60. Instead of holding a barbell in front of you, you step inside a hexagonal bar and grip handles at your sides. This positions the weight closer to your center of gravity, which dramatically reduces stress on your lower back while still building serious strength. If you don't have access to a trap bar, Romanian deadlifts with dumbbells work well. You keep a slight bend in your knees and hinge forward at the hips, lowering the weights along your thighs until you feel a stretch in your hamstrings. Then drive your hips forward to stand. The key is keeping a neutral spine throughout the movement. Don't round your lower back. Think about pushing your hips back rather than bending forward. Keep the weights close to your body. When you stand, squeeze your glutes at the top without leaning backward. This exercise also builds serious grip strength. That might sound minor, but grip strength is one of the strongest predictors of longevity in older adults. A firm handshake isn't just social. It reflects total body strength and correlates with better health outcomes. Number 3. Rowing movements. Your upper back is probably weaker than you think. Years of sitting, driving, and looking at screens pull your shoulders forward and round your upper spine. This creates a cascade of problems. Neck pain, shoulder impingement, difficulty reaching overhead. The row directly counteracts this by strengthening the muscles that pull your shoulders back and down. When you row, you're training your latissimus dorsi, rhomboids, rear deltoids, and biceps. These muscles work together to retract your shoulder blades and extend your arms. Strong pulling muscles balance out the pushing muscles on the front of your body and dramatically improve posture. Research comparing different rowing variations found that certain versions activate the upper back intensely while placing relatively low stress on the lumbar spine. The seated cable row is excellent because the machine supports your torso and lets you focus entirely on the pulling motion. If you train at home, a single-arm dumbbell row works beautifully. You brace one hand on a bench, let the dumbbell hang straight down, and pull it toward your hip while keeping your elbow close to your body. The biggest mistake people make with rows is using momentum. They swing the weight up instead of pulling with their back muscles. Slow down. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze toward your spine at the top of each rep. Lower the weight with control. You should feel tension in your mid-back, not just your arms. This pulling strength has immediate real-world applications. Opening a stubborn door, starting a lawnmower, pulling yourself up if you stumble. Every pull in daily life gets easier when your back is strong. Number 4. Pushing movements. Pushing strength protects you in ways you might not expect. If you trip and catch yourself on a railing, your chest and triceps absorb the impact. If you need to push yourself up from the floor, those same muscles do the work. A fall that breaks bones in one person might be a minor stumble for someone with strong pressing muscles. The chest press trains your pectorals, anterior deltoids, and triceps through a horizontal pushing pattern. For men over 60, the dumbbell version offers important advantages over the barbell. Dumbbells allow each arm to move independently, which accommodates any differences in shoulder mobility between your left and right sides. They also let you position your hands in a more natural angle, reducing stress on the shoulder joint. Research on older adults found that 12 weeks of chest press training on machines led to improved physical function. The seated chest press machine is another excellent option because it provides stability and guides your movement path. You can focus entirely on pushing without worrying about balance. Whether you use dumbbells or a machine, the form cues stay the same. Keep your shoulder blades pulled back and down against the bench or seat pad. Lower the weight until your elbows are roughly level with your torso. Then press up without locking your elbows completely at the top. Control both phases of the movement. The lowering portion builds just as much strength as the pressing portion. Start lighter than your ego wants. Shoulder injuries derail more training programs than any other factor. A conservative approach now means consistent progress for years. Number 5. Overhead press. Reaching overhead becomes harder with age, and most people don't address it until it's a serious problem. Putting dishes away on a high shelf, changing a light bulb, lifting a carry-on into an overhead bin. These everyday tasks require shoulder strength and mobility that many men over 60 have lost. The overhead press rebuilds this capacity. When you press weight from shoulder level to overhead, you train your deltoids, upper chest, and triceps through a range of motion that directly transfers to real life. Experts note that pressing and pulling from overhead is a fundamental daily function. When you lose the strength to do it comfortably, your quality of life suffers. A seated dumbbell press removes the balance challenge and lets you focus on building shoulder strength safely. Sit on a bench with back support. Hold dumbbells at shoulder height, with your palms facing forward or angled slightly inward. Press the weights up and slightly together overhead, then lower with control. The most common mistake is arching the lower back excessively to complete the rep. If you find yourself leaning back dramatically, the weight is too heavy. Reduce the load and keep your core braced throughout the movement. Your lower back should maintain its natural curve, nothing more. For men with shoulder issues, the Arnold press offers a joint-friendlier alternative. You start with palms facing you and rotate them forward as you press. This changes the angle of stress on the shoulder and often feels more comfortable. 5 exercises. That's all you need to force your body to adapt and grow. But here's what determines whether you actually see results: consistency and intelligent programming. Training 2 to 3 days per week is plenty for building muscle at this stage. Research on older adults consistently shows that twice-weekly training produces muscle and strength gains comparable to training 3 times per week. More isn't necessarily better. Recovery matters more now than it did at 25. Your muscles need 48 to 72 hours between sessions, targeting the same body parts to repair and grow. A simple approach works best. Train your whole body each session. Perform 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions for each exercise. Rest 1 to 2 minutes between sets. Focus on controlling the weight through the full range of motion rather than rushing through reps. Progressive overload remains the fundamental driver of muscle growth at any age. When you can complete all your reps with good form, increase the weight slightly. Small jumps matter. Adding just 2 pounds to an exercise every few weeks adds up to significant strength gains over months. Start lighter than you think you should. Master the movement patterns before adding resistance. A perfect rep with 15 pounds builds more muscle than a sloppy rep with 30 pounds. Tendons and ligaments adapt more slowly than muscles, so patience now prevents injuries later. Exercise sends the signal. Protein provides the building materials. Without adequate protein intake, your body cannot construct new muscle tissue no matter how hard you train. And here's what most men over 60 don't realize. Your protein needs are actually higher now than when you were younger. Research shows that older adults need roughly 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily to optimize muscle building. That's significantly more than the standard recommendation. For a 180-pound man, this means aiming for approximately 100 to 130 grams of protein spread across the day. The timing matters too. Studies indicate that older adults need about 25 to 35 grams of protein per meal to trigger muscle protein synthesis effectively. Younger people can get away with smaller amounts, but aging muscle requires a higher threshold to respond. This means a slice of toast for breakfast doesn't cut it. Include a substantial protein source at every meal. Lean meats, fish, eggs, dairy, and legumes all contribute. If you struggle to hit your targets through food alone, a simple whey protein shake can fill the gap. Research suggests whey protein is particularly effective for building muscle in older adults compared to plant-based alternatives. These 5 movements cover every major muscle group in your body. Squats and deadlifts build your legs and posterior chain. Rows strengthen your back. Presses develop your chest and shoulders. Together, they create a complete stimulus for muscle growth. But the real transformation happens over years, not weeks. Men who commit to this process don't just maintain their strength, they build it. They move better at 65 than they did at 60. They stay active with their grandchildren. They remain independent longer. They live with more energy and confidence. Your body hasn't forgotten how to grow. It's waiting for the signal. 2 to 3 sessions per week. 5 fundamental exercises. Adequate protein. Consistent effort over time. This isn't about fighting age. It's about building something. Start this week. Your future self is counting on you.